LawBreakers and Radical Heights. The two games created and released by Boss Key Productions, a studio that was founded by Cliff Bleszinski. Unfortunately for them, both games ended up being huge failures financially. LawBreakers was a lot of fun, but failed to gain any traction in the market, and in what seemed like a bit of a desperate attempt to recoup their costs, they released Radical Heights after only 5 months in development. And now that Radical Heights has failed to take off quite as much as, I guess, Boss Key needed it to, Boss Key Productions is now officially shutting down. Today, May 14th, 2018, Cliff Bleszinski tweeted this statement. As of today, Boss Key Productions is effectively no more. 4 years ago, I set out to make a world-class video game studio, and I hired some of the best talent in the video game industry. They worked tirelessly to produce quality products, and while we had our ups and downs, I'd like to think that we had fun doing it. LawBreakers was a great game that unfortunately failed to gain traction, and in a last-ditch attempt, we scrambled to do our take on the huge battle royale genre with Radical Heights, which was well received. However, it was too little too late. As for myself, I'm going to take some time off and reflect. I need to focus on myself and my family as well as my Aussie Teddy, who is slowly fading from us. Video games will forever be a part of who I am, and I hope to make something new again someday. However, I need to withdraw and take this time. To those of you who have supported myself in the studio for these last 4 years, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and everyone who came to work for me. Please note that the servers for Radical Heights will remain up for the near future. And before any of you go into the comments and type out some memes about LawBreakers good, but didn't you see how it failed? Just because a game fails doesn't mean that it wasn't fun or wasn't good. I've stated many times in the past that I really enjoyed LawBreakers and I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it felt good, I thought it was enjoyable to play, and I think it's too bad that it failed to gain the traction that it needed to survive. As for Radical Heights, it's like I keep saying in my videos, if you're going to try to tackle a huge genre that has a few very hard hitters with a lion's share of the gaming population attached to them, you need to bring something very strong to the table. It needs to either bring something very unique that shakes up the genre, or it needs to excel in everything that it's doing if it's not being unique. Hollow Knight is a great example of the latter method. It doesn't do anything particularly unique or innovative, but everything it does exceptionally well, and it has a very memorable and gorgeous art style to complement everything that it does. And while I will admit to having some fun with Radical Heights and enjoying myself every time I go back to try to record footage for this game, I don't think it does anything exceptionally well, it doesn't do anything memorable, and it was frankly rushed out the door. I suspect that it was rushed out the door due to necessity rather than want, because obviously after losing so much money on LawBreakers, they probably had to really rush to get it out the door so they can gain some of their money back so they can just keep the lights on. Unfortunately, that seemed to have only bought them about a month. And as of recording this video, the 24-hour peak for Radical Heights was 888, which is not a very sustainable amount. And I know that some of you are probably going to say it's their own fault for chasing an oversaturated genre. I mean, we have PUBG, we have Fortnite, we have Darwin Project, we have all sorts of other shoot-offs that are coming out like, it seems like weekly these days. They should have never tried to enter this field. I want to say that I disagree with that sentiment at its core. While yes, if you're going to go into an oversaturated genre like this, you need to have a really solid game plan and have some really solid ideas or some really solid execution behind it, I think that this gold rush for battle royales is actually a good thing for the gaming industry as a whole. I have a whole video on this topic coming up in the next few days. It was actually supposed to be my next video until I got this news, but the short of it is that it helps drive innovation in gaming. I don't think the battle royale genre is done yet, and I think there's a lot more that can be put into it to make it much better, to make it more interesting. But I wish everybody who was at Boss Key the best, especially this guy who responded to a fan asking about the female model for Radical Heights. First, he says she's in progress with no ETA. And then just a few minutes later, he responds to her again, saying, well, scratch that. No female ever. Sounds like a metaphor for my life. This guy was the lead producer on Radical Heights, and he got the news as suddenly as everybody else. It seemed like nobody was warned, so if any of you at Boss Key happen to be watching this, I sincerely wish you the best of luck, and I'm sorry that it didn't work out for you guys. As always, leave your comments and thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you hated my stupid affection for Bleszinski and LawBreakers, and subscribe for more gaming content like this in the future, and I will see you next time.